Good afternoon and welcome to This Girl is on Fire. I'm Kathy Connor, your host. I am here with the amazing Susan Shirley with Elite Transformational Coaching. And Susan, I'm excited to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So let's dive into it. Tell us a little bit about you, what you like to do, maybe your family.
Well, I am originally from South Louisiana, so a Cajun, born and
Nice.
bred. So I like food, music, and just the culture of family and community. Grew up in a small family. I'm the youngest of three, but it was a family of service above self. My father was in Rotary, and that was kind of our motto growing up is to give back to the community. So came about this field of mine through that and also some personal struggles that I've had in my life and wanted to be able to be a resource to people, that they weren't defined by their past, that they can define their future and they can have their best life ever. What I do for fun, I ballroom dance. I
Ooh,
play with my dog, who is a black lab that is 10 going on about 2, so still a puppy. Love hanging out with friends and enjoying new restaurants and gatherings around town.
very nice. Ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes, it was something I did right before COVID, and it was good for the cognitive exercise and also good for physical exercise and got me out to be social. And it kind of stopped me from being a perfectionist and just going out to enjoy. And I didn't have to be perfect at it. So, for all those that think they have to be perfect at what they do, just go out and enjoy.
I love it. Great advice. What part of Louisiana are you from?
Lafayette, Cajun country.
Lafayette.
Mhm.
What happened to your accent?
I I lost it. Somewhat intentionally when I moved here. Everyone associated Louisiana with either New Orleans, which still is a pronunciation, and the things that go on in New Orleans, or what they saw on TV. And so I I wanted to present something that was more neutral. It still comes out. And I always throw every year I do it on the Mardi Gras gathering where I do all the cooking for about 60 individuals and we get together and we have masks and beads and and costumes and just have fun, and that's what it's all about.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, count me in if you do that again because I absolutely love Cajun food.
The weekend before Valentine's Day next year.
Okay.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Mm,
So you tell us a little bit about how you got into the coaching space.
okay. So I have had a company since 2010 that was, counseling and consulting. So I did individual counseling, family, addictions, mental health. I did corporate, work also, and the last couple, 3 years, I started seeing more and more coaching, come across, social media, come across, my my field, and I dove in kinda just out of interest to see what it was about, and the more I investigated and the more I learned, the more excited I got about it because so many people I find, get stuck in their past, and therapy brings you from your past to the present, and coaching is one of these things that and approaches that will take you where you are and meet you where you are and bring you to where you want to be in life, your best self. So we don't really dwell a lot on the past traumas that we really just focus on how can we move forward so that you can create an astounding life for yourself.
I love it. So you offer trauma coaching.
Yes.
Okay.
Trauma coaching, divorce coaching. I also do the life coaching. I have a new outlet right now, and it's concierge coaching. So those are for that's for those individuals that want the extra hands-on, the extra touch, more services for them to engage in to really elevate their success.
I love it. And how long have you been in this field?
I've been in the behavioral health field for over 30 years, which makes me old.
Oh,
I've been licensed in addictions and mental health for 20 plus years in both Louisiana and here in Florida. And coaching that began 2 years ago.
So I think it's interesting to for our listeners to know that you do have a background in counseling, and you've been in that field for
20
20
20 years as a licensed therapist.
20 years. So, I mean, together, what is it? Talking 30, 35 years?
Right.
I think that's awesome.
It's a lot of people will say that coaching doesn't need a background in therapy or coaching. Um, I believe that it builds like a foundation and a structure, not that I go back, but I have a deeper understanding about some of the things that drive behavior
Right.
and drive choices and get people stuck, and, the old narratives, the old roles, and how to break those so that then they can embrace that best self and that best life that they really want. And sometimes it only takes the question of how long are you going to hold on to the old narratives and how are they working for you now versus how can we change that to get you to where you want to be.
Right. Without you don't have to tell us the situation, but in somewhat of what I'm looking for is, do you have a success story? Like, can you share a success stories, obviously without mentioning names, or certain circumstances that might identify this person?
So in therapy, I have many, and they're on the website as far as testimonials. I have clients that will come back and just want to sit and chat and tell me about how their life has changed and how much they appreciated it. And really, it's not about me. It's about them and the work that they put in, and that's really what I emphasize with that. I have um, I have a client right now that is discovering who she is, right? And great family involvement and engagement, and in the combination of coaching and the combination of family support and me guiding the family also on intervening and being able to help, their family member, the changes and the growth have been astronomical. And
Wow.
so it's and once again, it's not about me, it's about them, and that's the purpose of why I'm in this field is to help people break through those areas in their life and just have that wonderful life that they want.
What a great feeling that must be to make a difference and have such an impact in the life of another and know that you had something to do with that. Maybe they were missing the guidance or they were missing, and then what you offer is a pathway to maybe deal with something that happened or something traumatic event that's happened in their life for them to get over that hurdle to where they're not focusing on that. What are your recommendations for our listeners, if someone is or has had a traumatic event maybe as a child, or maybe even someone that, bullying is a factor also, and it's a shame because it's not only a bullying, it doesn't even I mean, it affects the younger generation, but it most definitely affects us as adults if you allow it. I mean, you'd think that bullying would stop, it really doesn't.
No, it doesn't, it's a continuation, and really it's about ego, and, one of my processes is also soul drama and psychodrama, and it moves people from the ego into the soul. And moves people from being harsh and judgmental to being loving, compassionate with themselves and others. So I'm a firm believer that sometimes the biggest challenge and setback in your life can be the greatest jumping off point for your life. It can be the greatest success story in your life. And so, what we sometimes perceive as these very difficult and real situations, that those can actually be beneficial to really get you to another point in life. So we can use those as a positive motivation to move forward.
100%. I'm a firm believer in hurdles and obstacles are redirecting us and everyone to the path down the path that they need to take.
Right. Obstacles are just challenges,
That's right.
right?
And they're meant to we can all overcome them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk real quick about bullying. Now, I know you mentioned it's ego. I know what bullying means to me, but can you give some identifying factors as to what bullying looks like? As a child, we know it's someone being mean or, saying mean things or excluding them. There's so much that goes into bullying. I don't want to focus too much on it, but I think it's an important topic.
Well, then what underlines bullying? And we always think of like the big person and they're going after the small person. And even in relationships, it happens, marriages, it happens. I deal with high conflict divorce, it happens a lot. And really, it comes out of insecurity,
Hmm.
right? And low self worth and low self esteem. And so when I have children that I work with that are being bullied or I'm dealing with divorce and that bullying aspect and that power, and really it's about power and position. And when they learn to relinquish that and they don't need to use that to engage or to feel better about themselves, then that opens up the conversation. And so when I work with children in schools, we talk about bully prevention, right? And how to really connect with individuals and also express for those that are kind of experiencing those behaviors, right, of bullying, finding out where that's coming from because most of our behaviors and choices are learned.
Right.
We're not born bullies. We're not born with certain attributes and characteristics. We learn them from the environment, from the family. So it's a process of knowing, okay, where do they come from? Where did we learn these narratives and ways to survive? Because that's basically what that is survival. And how can we change those narratives in order to to bring people closer? Because what bullying does is it separates.
Right.
What collaboration does and what connection does is bring you closer
Together.
because everyone is part of the same universe.
Right.
And so really just leveling the field.
Very interesting. Great information.
Thank you.
What is coaching?
So, coaching is a process of meeting people where they are and really identifying where they want to go in life, what they want to achieve, aligning their actions, beliefs, um, their environments, their interactions with exactly that goal in mind. So, it's helping them stay aligned with their purpose because sometimes we get a little off track, so it's all about the client and their journey. And so it's almost co-creating with the client in order that they self-discover what can get them to where they want to go. And it's their goals and their achievements and their end game that really matter. So there's an example I like to give, and being from Louisiana, the example of Nick Saban, who was a retired coach from LSU doesn't come across too well sometimes or appreciated. However, he was and is one of the greatest coaches, right, in college football, and also one of the greatest coaches for his players, not just in football but in life. And he tells a story. He met with every player before they even started the season. And he asked them, what are your goals? What do you want to be? And he tells a story of one child coming to him, fresh out of high school, had these great dreams of wanting to be an NFL star, have big houses, big cars, big money, big everything that he sees on TV. And Nick Saban said, okay, that sounds like a great goal. That sounds like a great passion of yours. And that was it. And then Nick Saban sat back and watched. And this particular, child, he was 18, he was showing up to school classes late. He wasn't making the grades. He was showing up to practice late. He really wasn't a team player. He wasn't staying after. He wasn't taking real direction. And what Nick Saban did was bring him back into the office. And instead of berating him and saying, you're not doing and you can't do, and you're ruining our team and all the things that we could, he challenged him to what he presented on day one. Because he said, "Remember what you told me about you wanting this NFL lifestyle and the money and the things and the prestige?" And the child said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, what I'm watching and seeing is not gonna get you there. It might get you on the sideline, it might get you in the seats in the stadium, but it's not gonna get you in the game." And that's all he told him. And then he sat back and watched again. And the child, the student started going to practice earlier, brought up his grades, was staying before practice, after practice, team player. And so he invested. He heard what Coach Saban said and made the choice and decision. And that's what we do in life is it's a decision that we make and then the follow through on that. So if we can commit to that decision, then the follow through will come.
Right. What a
So
great story. Do we know what happened to
NFL.
he's in the
Mm,
NFL? Oh
yes.
my gosh, you just gave me chills. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And the one thing about Nick Saban is he always had a winning team no matter if they were freshmen or seniors, and that's because of this coaching technique that he used.
Right. No, they definitely have a good team. I'm
Mhm.
I'm a Gator fan, but
Well, there you go. Nice.
what is the deciding factor that makes someone want to contact you?
Well, I think what really drives people to reach out for help is that they feel stuck in their life. They feel that they don't have the solutions and they're all alone, and they're struggling to try to figure out life and they don't feel like they have the tools to be able to get through, whether it's emotional trauma, whether it's life events like divorce, which throws you into a whole different realm about many, many elements, right? Now you have to do things alone. Now you have to, you know, deal with the courts. Now you have to deal with co-parenting. Now you have to deal with, so there's a lot of elements that come at people all at once. And so when people feel overwhelmed, when they don't know where to turn, when they don't know the answer, that's when people reach out to help. And so that first contact that I have and I don't have a secretary, I don't have someone answering the phone. I answer the phone and I give a complimentary consultation for them to really start that connection and start that conversation.
And what is describe that moment when you're coaching and you realize you seeing the shift.
Right. I like to use examples, particularly in high conflict divorces, because they come to me very emotionally wired
Yeah.
and very dysregulated and very angry and very frustrated putting them in a room together. When you separate them, then they also present hopelessness, helplessness, resentment, anger, fear, and so when I'm working with them together and individually, the light bulb moment comes when, say, the ex-wife says, "Yeah, I can do this. I just got a job. I can support myself." Right? And that's always, I mean, that just, opens up my heart when they discover that the power is within them and they can change and they don't have to be stuck and the narratives, and the hurt and the pain, and they can rise above it and really have and have trust in themselves to become that a person that they really want to do. So I think a lot of times people don't trust themselves enough to really step out and embrace their destiny. And when they do, that light bulb, and then they're really going for the gusto.
And I know you offer a concierge program. Can you shed a little bit more light on that?
Sure. Outside of the traditional coaching, it actually came out of a need of a client of mine, and they were looking for something that had more touch point, more coaching during the week, more coaching in between coaching, more contact if they ran into a difficulty or challenge and just wanted an email or a call. And so it kind of started this brain, um, chasing of mine is like, how can I create something that will meet them at their needs? And so that's where concierge coaching came in. And so I have the silver offer, I have the gold offer, and I have the platinum offer. And that's all designed for the client to meet the client and their needs. And all of those can be also altered and changed. Um, with the client, so I co-create with the client. If those particular offers are, they want more of something or less or something, then we create what they absolutely need. And each offer, it starts out at 3 months, and they each have different price points. But at each level, we reevaluate, we reassess, and see where we need more, where we need less. And so it really is driven by the client and the client's needs.
So these programs are custom to the client.
Absolutely.
I love that because it's not just a boilerplate program. You actually sit down with the client, figure out what their needs are or determine what their needs are, I should say, and then you build the course or the program around that.
Right. I don't sell packages, I sell solutions.
Oh,
So
I love that. I love that. Susan, how can someone contact you if they're interested in speaking to you more about your services?
so my website, susan-shirley.com. And just to warn, my webpage is under construction, but it's fabulous, and you can contact me on my webpage. There's a form that you can fill out. There's also a unique part of my webpage. It's called Susan's Corner. And instead of me doing FAQs and assuming that I know the questions that you want answers to, you can put your questions in there and I will respond to them within 24 hours.
I love that.
And so my phone number is 337-356-5486. Still have a Louisiana area code. And also on my website, you will also find the Facebook and Instagram connections there.
All your social media links.
Mhm.
Susan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you
And
for giving me this opportunity.
thank you.